in?
My name is Timothy Purkey. I have been in the military for the last 17 years. 16 to 17 years. I joined in September of 2009, and I've served my entire career in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard.
What makes you proud to serve or to have served in the U.S. military?
So when I was young, my grandfather, he served, or he wasn't serving at the time, but he had served during World War II. He was in the Army Air Corps at the time, and he was a belly gunner for a B-17 bomber during the war. I thought that was amazing. I was always interested. I would ask him questions about it. And he didn't speak too much about the experience that he had. It was actually later on after he passed away where I was able to research some of the history of his unit, which was amazing, which is a different story. But what makes me proud to serve is the heritage the history that my grandfather had, that he was able to pass down to me, and also being able to serve my nation and contribute to our nation in the way of wherever they need me. I've served on response missions where we've had hurricanes, and I've also served overseas in Kuwait and other areas of the world.
Wow.
Of military police battalion for the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. I serve as a major, which is part of the operations section of the battalion.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's the official name, I think, was a ball turret gunner. So if you've ever seen, I think the HBO had a current TV series over the B-17s that flew over Europe, which was really neat. But it's the ball turret that hangs underneath the aircraft. So apparently he was the shortest out of his entire crew, which is why they gave him that position, because it's really confined area. It's actually outside of the aircraft. You have to go through a hatch in the plane in order to get into the ball turret, and you're virtually outside. So if your turret ever there were some instances of this, if your turret ever became disabled and it wasn't lined up the right way and they had to crash land because of their landing gear being out, you could get crushed, So it was a dangerous position, and he did receive a Purple Heart during his time in World War II.
Wow.
As a platoon leader with the military police in Horsham, Pennsylvania, the Willow Grove Naval Air Base.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
Cool. What does America mean to you?
Wow. For me, growing up, I was able to decide what I wanted to do. I've decided where I want to live. Freedom has been such a huge aspect, and the liberty to be able to make my own decisions were huge. That's what America means to me. The freedom, liberty, independence.
Yeah. What is your definition of 250 years of resilience?
The tough times that we've experienced as a country. I mean, if you want to go starting at the Revolutionary War, our nation was birthed out of a monarchy, and we became an independent nation through the patriotism that we experienced from the people that gave their lives for our country. So you can take that throughout all of our major wars. War of 1812, we have the Spanish-American War all the way through. And you can see that we've had a continual history of people that were willing to sacrifice and even give up their lives, and that's one of the things that I respect, which is another reason why I serve this nation and the patriotism that our forefathers had, and really inspire me.
Wow.
Partly because of my grandfather fighting in World War II, I guess.
Cool.
Thought I was maybe going to be a history teacher. Didn't figure it out at the time because I was so young and never done anything as far as teaching. I was really close to joining the Navy before I finished college, and my parents made me promise that I would finish before I joined. So I finished college, got a bachelor's degree, and joined the Pennsylvania National Guard, Army National Guard. It allowed me to be able to commission as an officer. You are required to have a bachelor's degree in order to be a commissioned officer in the military. So that was one benefit. I commissioned through officer candidate school and went through that ranks. There's a couple of different ways to be able to commission as an officer: ROTC, officer candidate school, or if you go to West Point.
Okay.
Like you have, if you're looking at it from a regular business perspective, you have management, you have, which would be more of a operational role. And then you have the other positions, which are kind of if you're enlisted, you can still become a manager in the military. I mean, there's non-commissioned officers and there's commissioned officers, but the difference between enlisted and commissioned is you're more actively taking a part as far as your boots on the ground type thing. When you're enlisted, you take more of a planning role when you're an officer.
Gotcha. 250 time capsule to represent your generation of service.
My generation of service. Honestly, probably an interview.
Yeah.
From some of the people that served during that generation would be something that would be important, because you could come back 100 years from now or 200 years from now and be able to.
Pikeland learned from the fact that this area was a key munitions producer, not just a bystander in the war.
It's great to be able to look at the history of the surrounding area that you live, where you live. So just knowing that some of these really historical buildings are here is really neat. To just say, I live in this community, and this community had such an important role during our war for independence. But also, I think it's important that you look beyond just living in a town that has the history. What can I gain from the history is what you have to ask yourself. And as a student, as somebody growing up, I think it's important to look at that and say, I don't have to just be a soldier to be useful to my country. I mean, the people that worked in those mills, if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have had the supplies to be able to win the war for independence. So you can serve in all different types of ways.
Pikeland Township played a key role in the Revolutionary War, acting as a vital industrial supplier to Washington's army during the Philadelphia campaign. Key sites include the Continental Powder Works, which produced gunpowder, and Prizer's Mill, which served as a supplier of flour to feed troops. How do you feel about the township's efforts to preserve these local sites to commemorate our Revolutionary roots? Do you think the public better understands the Revolutionary War from these preservation efforts?
I think it's wonderful that we're preserving these places. Honestly, I think that it would even be great if some of the key historical areas, such as Valley Forge, was able to more publicize these other areas more, because of the role that they had in the founding of our country, not just through the war for independence, but even afterwards. I mean, if you look at the mill, I mean, it didn't just run during the period of the war for independence. I mean, it ran for, I don't know, many years after that. So it had a significant impact on our community and on the surrounding region as well. So more publicity would benefit this area for the appreciation that we should all have.
Mm-hmm. Local farmers and millers in this area played a supportive role in the war effort. What does this say about patriotism during our battle for independence?
Again, I think it goes back to, you don't have to serve necessarily in the military to be able to be useful to support our nation. The people that were millers, the people that were just regular business owners in the area, they contributed just as much, maybe not in the spirit of possibly dying for our country, but then again, if they were found to be supporting the movement at the time for independence, they probably would have had to pay with their lives too, or their property. So, I mean, you look at the significance and you have to appreciate it for what it's worth. They gave, out of an enormous risk, they gave their work and their productivity to be able to support the battle for independence.
Roots in the fight for independence impact your perspective on the role of the military in American life today?
It allows me to value what we have around us. I was a history major in college. I already have a deep respect for it, but I remember speaking to people who lived out in the Midwest, and they would tell me, you don't realize how much history you have just in the area around you. There's not that much out in the Midwest. There is some, but not as much as we have here on the East Coast. And to live in a community with so much history, it's just great. It's amazing to be able to appreciate that and learn from it and see how it actually improved our chances of winning the war for independence and how it was used to be able to contribute. I've personally always had a deep respect, and I hope that people understand the commitment that it takes. But also, I want people to understand how much it helps to be supported by the community around us. When we come back from a long deployment and you are walking through an airport and you see people who thank you for your service, that actually improves my morale. Being able to see that the community supports the people in uniform, that really helps. And me personally, working in the Pennsylvania National Guard, I've also been able to experience the other side that a lot of active duty doesn't necessarily experience, which is helping the community in a more of a FEMA type role as well, where when emergencies happen, we're able to also be there, be called to active service, and be able to assist in floods, be able to assist in hurricanes and clear down trees. Those type of things have given me an appreciation for the community, and I can give to the community, and I've always felt appreciated from the community as well, and that's always been a great help.
Awesome.